Kjære, tjeja Geneva Johnson ishe Gina dashijina Ado bit anin shledo tkachini bashichin kiltachini dashichedo twitchini dashinala tensades adet nasha. I'm just gonna do a short video just to kind of give you an update and share with you what I'm talking about when I say translation services that people are requesting. I've been doing this for a while now and it's really good. I really enjoy it, but like I mentioned, it's very time consuming. Sometimes I don't have the time to fulfill all the requests. So I've been working consistently with several organizations now, and I don't know if there are probably several more out there because I don't respond to some of them. But what I believe happens is as translation companies, and some of them are not even in the U.S. There's one I think he is from I believe he's from Africa in that area, and then the other one's from Egypt. The other two are in the U.S., so I'm able to remember the time zone. And I think what happens is when an organization or a business, regardless of what it is, it could be education, a legal, healthcare, family services, it doesn't matter. They want a document. Lately, more have been requested since this pandemic. A lot more has been focused on healthcare, like COVID. I had to do a lot of translations, and some of these are like new words. So I do a lot of research. I have to find the information. Sometimes I contact the hospital. I contact certain agencies just to get the accurate information of how they're probably translating this to their patients, or it just really depends. I have people that I reach out to that work with social services, healthcare, IHS. There's several people that I really make good connection with just to give me like a good translation of a word that really helps me. And then of course just my own knowledge, and then my mom and my aunts are really my supporters. I turn to them a lot. They're fluent native speakers. They're up in age, but they're really well knowledgeable of a lot of the terms. So that's where my resources come from. So I think what happens is when an organization decides this document, we want this in different languages, maybe because they have to abide by affirmative action or something, they want to translate that particular document, and they send it out to organizations that do translation services, and they pick it up. And when those translation services, the businesses pick it up, they then reach out to their people that work with them, that do the translation for them, and then they ask, are you able to translate this document? What's your availability? Usually that's what they ask. What's your availability? It could be a turnaround, a fast turnaround, meaning, my way of doing it after doing this for so long now is that I need time to be able to go back and review what I've translated, and it depends what the document is. So I usually say, what's the time frame? What do you have? What's the latest I could turn this in? They they don't understand the Navajo language. It's a descriptive language, so it's not easy to just say ball joth. If it's something difficult, like in legal terms, like I had to translate some documents that were kind of like saying if you're detained, this is what you have to do and all that. They're not verbatim. You have to really think about how you would say this. And the way I've learned that works best for me is do not translate word by word. Sometimes it's not exactly accurate of what it is you're saying. Some things are a little bit more explained when you're describing it, but you have to really do your best to condense it. So I really would sit down with my mom and say, this is the translation. Help me to translate it to a smaller structure. And it's like talking to an elder. I always remember that. I have that in mind. How would you explain this to an elder? How would you say this? That's where my thinking always goes. It's not, and I always tell the organizations, I'm translating for you, but you don't understand the Navajo language. So I'm not doing it to see if you're going to understand it. I'm doing this to see if the people that are going to be reading this or it's being read to are going to understand the concept of what it is that they're, the translation document is. So they will give you a Belagana version. That version that you get, you will look at it. I always request when they say, "Are you available to translate a document?" I never just say, "Oh, yes." I always say, "May I please look at the document?" They'll send it over. They give you like a day or so to kind of review it to see if you're able to translate it. I've really taken on projects that at the beginning I took on kind of like the easier projects, like it's kind of simple to translate. And then later on, I started to challenge myself. I'm like, I think I got this. I can translate a little bit more. So, the biggest document I think I've ever translated. Some of them are only one paragraph, honestly. Some of them are one page. Some of them are 3 pages. Some of them could be 8 pages. I have done a lot of patient documents, like a pack, like a handbook. Some of them are students. It just really depends. But that's how much, how many pages. It depends on the pages. But honestly, the biggest document that I've ever translated, the big pack documents, is probably, I'm going to say, almost 100 pages, and that took me about a month, about a month, consistently. So if you kind of think about a page, you're looking at about 300, 400 words. It really depends on how what it is about, because some of them could be forms, some of them could just be translate this document. What they do is they count the words. They count how many words in that translation document. Then they ask you, what is your rate of pay? How much do you want to get paid for each word that you translate? I started off at the beginning at 15 cents to 20 cents a word. And that was okay at the beginning. And then the more I started to do this, I thought, you know what, this is kind of not, I'm going to up my price. And they're going to try to keep you at the lowest, because I think what they do is they take a portion of that percentage from that organization that they're translating this for. So I always say, okay, now that I have more experience, my rate of pay goes up to almost like 50 cents a word. It depends what it is. The more sensitive, like legal, healthcare, usually those two, I up my rate of pay. I do not do anything lower than 30 cents a word, because I feel like those are sensitive things. Where are you going to find that kind of information? So I'm going to up that a little bit. Also, keep in mind that when you're doing this, write it down. Write down how much you want your rate of pay to be. And then also consider the time. Some are going to say this is a flat rate. We're only going to do this for $200. But if you have a huge document, I will say how many words are in this document, and then calculate it. See if it's really worth that much. If it's really simple, like numbers or colors only, yeah, sure, that's fine. But there are certain times when you have to spend time researching the words. I do a lot of researching on my own. I have notebooks of my own glossary, I guess, where I write down the different terms. Those are my resources that I've created all these years, so I refer to them all the time. And then also, kind of think about how much time you have. If you feel they think that you're just sitting there waiting to translate, you really don't. You need to kind of think about your own schedule. Where do I have time in my day? Do I have 1 hour, 2 hours in a day? How much time can I give to this document? There are times when I do procrastinate and I end up doing this for the whole weekend and I'm sitting at my computer all day, all day. It's ridiculous. It really does burn you out. Sometimes it burns you out where you're like, I can't do this. I can't continue this, especially if they have a deadline. I really have to be careful with that with myself. So think about that. Be mindful of your own schedule and what you have going for yourself. So your rate of pay, remember your rate of pay, kind of negotiate. See, and I told you kind of like where I kind of negotiate on my price. Look at your time frame. How much time do you have? And then also, they're going to request a resume. If this is the first time you're doing this, you've never done this before, but you have background, you taught Navajo language, or you've done something similar, put down on there your resume that you're able to translate. You're capable of doing this. They're going to ask for a sample document. If they send you a document, they might tell you, translate this for us. And then you have to send it back. You're going to translate that document. It might just be a page or even a couple of paragraphs. You're going to translate that and send it back to them. What they do is they know people that have been working with them for years, and they send that document to those people to see if this is accurate. And usually, of course, they're Navajo translators too, and they'll say, yes, it's, that's a pretty good translation. They send it back, and then that's how companies work with you. They don't just send you information and say, here you go, start working. Some of them do background checks. Some of them will request a certification. Some of them will request different things. So just be able to develop a document. I developed like an Excel sheet. I have like an Excel form that I created just to keep track of the ones that I've been doing. So what I did is, just for my own, like I have this sheet right here. What I do is, on my own Excel sheet, I developed like a form like this. And what it has is my name, it has the date, and then it'll have like the worker, because there's a person for that company that will reach out to you. And then what is the file focus? What is the focus? It could be legal terms, healthcare, COVID. It doesn't really, whatever it is, stick it in there. The number of words that they're telling you. So if it's like 4,000 words, put it in here. And then what the due date, what's the deadline? And then if it's completed and if you were paid. In here where they actually tell you the number of words, that's usually where I will say 4,000 words at 30 cents a word. And then I do my own calculation, how much they will tell you they're going to pay you. Make sure you make that agreement before you start any document. Say, yes, I will do this document at this rate. This is how much I'll get paid. Okay. Honestly, a lot of the translation organizations are not going to pay you like within a week, within a day, majority of them will go 45 to 90 days. And just to be clear about that, they're not going to pay you immediately, because what they do is they will get their document and then they'll send it back to that company. And then what they sometimes do is that document that you translated, they send it to another translator to review it and edit. And then it comes back to you. Then they request you to edit the version again. Then you send it back. So that kind of takes a little bit of time. And then they send it back to that company, whichever organization it is. Then they have to get paid from that company. So that takes a little bit of time. And then they finally get theirs and they do their accounts payable stuff. Then they finally pay you. So my turnaround time frame for payments has been 30 days sometimes to 90 days. Like I did a project I finished back in, I think it was towards the end of June. I didn't get that payment until the end of August. So just be aware that the payments, and you can't really bug them because they'll tell you straight up when they send you their document on there that the time frame for the payments is this much. And it's sometimes you want the money, but it's going to take a little bit of time. So just be aware of that one, that the time frame is different for every company, and they get paid Most of my payments come through PayPal. I request PayPal. I don't really have them send it to my bank because there are different workers that work on it, and I don't want people to have all this information about my account. So I do PayPal. The other one that they send it through is it's a system they call Pioneer, pioneer.com. I guess it's like a payment program that they use, some of them, to pay their workers. So it's kind of like they set that up for you. But majority has been PayPal. And what I do every year is it comes to me. Like I did so many the last year I did so many translations for one company. I did so many translations. I was keeping track of it, keeping track of it. They send you your tax information. And then I put that into my taxes. I have to have that deducted because it's additional income. I'll be honest with you, for that company, when I was consistent working with them all the time, just taking, I probably generated, just on the side of doing my own translation for a lot of these companies, I would say I probably did, in the last, just for 1 year, I probably did about 15,000. 15,000, 15 to 17,000 is probably what I did separately. So just be aware that the more you do, they will send you their tax information. And then on PayPal, it also does come out. So that's kind of like and it's really been good for me because I was able to pay off a lot of bills. I even used one for a family vacation. I took my family on a vacation where I didn't even use my work. I work full time, and the payments that I was getting, I mean, the payment I was getting for work, that paid for my usual stuff, but this one was additional stuff that I did. So this is a really good additional side job if you really want to do this. And the only thing is, some of them, there's certain times of the year for some reason that they really want translation services. And then it's quiet. And then usually I'm the one that says I'm ready, or sometimes I'll say, give me a couple of months. I don't have time. Like right now, well, that's what I've been telling them. Give me a couple of months. I don't have time to translate now. And I think they got used to me, and I was able to refer to other people to do the translation with one company. So they've been reaching out to them and they've been working with them, which is good. So anyway, that's what I wanted to share. But let me share with you on here the businesses. Like I mentioned, the time frames are different. The more time, the better, so you can take your time working on the project. And then the quick turnaround, request or negotiate a little more pay, like up your rate. So on the company, they send you different documents. Like for this one, the email will come something like this from this particular company. This is back from July. They'll say we have a new proofreading request. Sometimes they'll ask you to proofread, not just translate. They'll tell you to proofread. So they give you a time frame, and then they tell you how much. Some of these are very, like, they tell you what the word count is, and then they'll tell you what the document is. So I think this document was on scope of sales appointment form. Some of them, and they're like healthcare information. And this is how those forms look. Some of them, the forms. You have to translate these parts. Some of them, honestly, you're like, I have no idea how I'm going to translate that. You really have to think about it when you get the document. Are you really up for the challenge or not? I've done a lot of these where I'm like, okay, let's see how it goes. And they worked out well. So, and then some of them will come, like they ask for a quote. And then, like this one was a brochure. And he sent me what the translation was. It was Medicare, the brochure, and then right here is the brochure. This is how it looks. So when you translate, sometimes the format, the way they set it up is differently. They set it up differently. So this is where they tell you how many words, and then to go ahead and start translating. And then they have the brochure. Oops, it's over. That's why you can't see it. But when they set it up, they send you the document sometimes of how, like when you translate it, how the final project looks. So it really depends on what it is that you want to, they want from you. And I've been doing this for so long, but the businesses, like this one is, Assign Project International. These guys are from Africa, and sometimes if they start sending you emails or don't give them your phone number. I don't give this one my phone number because they call at a different time zone. And I had to tell this person, respect my language. If you want to work with us, understand that. I think it's just their demeanor, their culture is different. So they get a little pushy, and when they get like that, I tell them, nope, I'm not working with you anymore. Then they start begging and everything, and that's when I'm like, just give me a break, I don't have time. So this is one of them, Assign Project International. The other one that have been amazing, that these other ones have been really, really good, is this one, Final Graphic. This one, I did tell the lady this morning, I spoke to her because I'm doing a translation right now. I think these guys, they're located in different places. But this one, Texas, and the one that called me is from Utah. So they have another office there. And they do the translation too. I really like this one. They're really respectful. And I think the pay for this one was a faster turnaround for these guys. This is the other one that I've worked well with. I don't know how to say it, the Lockmasters. They usually have their logo at every email, and they do translation services too. And I believe this one is coming out from, this one's the one in Egypt. This is the one in Egypt. So you would think, what? I'm going to translate for somebody from another country? Yeah, and they're really good. This one, I really like this one. The one I do so much, shows a lot of business with is this one. These guys are from Pennsylvania, I think it was. Yeah, these guys are the ones that are really good. I really like this. I get so many translations from these guys, and they're the ones that take a little bit longer to pay out, but I really enjoy working with these guys. And then one suggestion is to develop a folder for your translation. I do by the document. Sometimes I have to indicate what it is. I've done so many translations that they send it out. There's so many different things, like even on literacy. Some of them, like this one was the one that I helped them with. Let's see if it'll come out. Sometimes my computer is kind of slow. Let's see. So this is the one that I did. They sent me like an English version, and then I had to come up with the Navajo version, and it came out really nice. I couldn't believe that it came out nice. So some of them, the Bill of Rights for young kids, and then there's like the nursing resident. They come out as files. You have to download it. Some of them are different documents. The COVID and all that, and then I did some more. These are all my translations that I've been working on. So it really, really depends on what it is that you're working on, and some of them come to you. So always save the English file and then do the save as the Navajo file, so you get the file that's in the Navajo version. There's one example right here, like this is from New Mexico Resource Family Pre-Service Training Feedback. It's all in Bologana like this. They send this to you, and then I did my translation, and it fits like this. Sometimes it's what I use for some of them really varies, their font. I use both Navajo, Times Roman Navajo. The other one that I use is on my keyboard, which is my Denebazad. You can't use your Navajo Times Roman if you have this Navajo keyboard selected, because it throws off your symbols. I had to download that one because on Google Drive, and then some of the information, the symbols don't stay, it changes. So if you ask the business, do you want Navajo Times Roman font or may I use my own font? I'll be honest, when the businesses get it, like the translation department, they can't even read it because they don't have the fonts on their computer. So that document has to go back to the agency, wherever it is that they're requesting. The INDA, that's when they review it, then they send it back to them. So sometimes the people that are the middle people don't even get to even see how the language is supposed to look. So this is, it really depends, and it varies on what it is that the document is, what the translation is going to be on. So just remember to develop a folder for that one. It's really, I really like doing this. I really like doing this. Like I mentioned, I really enjoy doing this. But just remember, the business that you're working with, have a really good communication with them, interact with them, email them. They're really good at responding back to you, even on weekends. Have your rate of pay. If you're just starting off, you might try to like do a couple of smaller projects at like a lower rate and then increase it. I've been doing this for years, so I kind of shift my weight around. And like the lady this morning was telling me, she's like, you're my first go-to person. I know they say that, but I don't have time. I just don't have time, and I have my own full-time job that I have to do. I have classes that I'm taking. I'm teaching another Navajo language tutoring session. It's like I have so many things to juggle, and I just don't have. Now and then maybe I'll take a couple of them if I have the time. Like right now I'm finishing up one. So just think about your rate of pay and research it. Google it. There are other businesses that offer different their own rate of pay. So write that down. Put your resume together. Have a sample document of something that you may have translated, or do your own. Pull out a document from anywhere. If you, wherever you want to pull out something. If you have a specific focus, if you think you're good at doing education, if you think you're good at doing healthcare stuff, tell them that. This is what I'm really good at, translating in these areas. The legal one was a little bit, I was unsure about that one for a while, but I kind of got the hang of that one. But like I said, I had to really learn and research and grow into it. So have your resources ready with you. Build your own notebooks, have your glossaries and everything. Once you start connecting with them, they will reach out to you. If they start reaching out to me, like I referred a couple of people and they start reaching out to me, I told them, nope, I'm not part of this. I'm not getting paid. This is not part of what I'm doing. You need to contact that person yourself. And then the person that I referred was trying to contact me, and I said, no, you need to contact them yourself. I referred you. You said you're able to translate, so have that communication with them, because I don't want to share the wrong information for one way or the other. So that's the reason why I always tell them to do that communication. I will tell you, there are times if I do get a huge document and I need one or two people to help me, I reach out to somebody and say, hey, this is a document that's coming through. And then I almost become the consultant. I'm the one that starts to consult with somebody and say, hey, I need help with this. I have like 100 pages. I'm able to do this, but are you able to take on like 20 pages or something? Sometimes they might say yes, and then from the money that I receive, I pay them. Or I pay them from my own money and say, here, thank you for helping me. This is my amount that I'm giving you. So when I get paid later on down the road, that's the one I keep. So I ended up doing that a couple of times when I received so many documents, and I was able to do that a couple of times, and it worked out fine. So just those are just like the main key areas. I think that if I'm trying to see if I touch base on all of it. So if you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to email me and ask me questions. If you want to call me, we can set up that time. But I think what I will do is, since I have your emails, I need your full name. I would need your full name. I would need your email address, so that when these companies do reach out to me, I will send them your full name and your email address, so they will reach out to you themselves. Okay, so I hope that was somewhat detailed. I didn't really want to go so much further into other things, but I think that's a pretty good amount of time. So thank you, and I hope you guys take on these tasks because it's really fun and it's really good because you kind of build your resume too at the same time. And it's fun because it's our language and we're sharing it with other organizations. A lot of them are in New Mexico and Arizona, actually, those businesses. So take care. How going now?